up to the boys. Fox and Shane, set your minds free, no locks and chains. Do what you love, roll the dice. 50-50, we cold as ice. One thing cold, but a penny turn red. Can't let that shit down in my head, war gaming.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Hobby Homies. We are your weekly tabletop podcast. I'm Shane, hanging out with the not-so-crippled Fox.
Hey, thanks, man.
That's right, dude. And, of course, we've got Churchy.
In the void.
So I see that you've self-removed your cast.
Yes, I've removed my entire leg, and with it went the cast.
Oh, it's how you got to do it sometimes.
Survival, dude.
That's it.
You get your foot caught in the
chewed
crack.
your leg off.
I did. I didn't have to. I could have used a sharp blade, but
What's
I
that
chose
movie?
teeth.
127 hours?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either. I just know of it.
Oh, sure.
The guy chews his arm off.
Is it James Franco?
Yeah.
Is that?
I don't think he chews
27?
it off. I think he uses like a spoon or something.
He spoons
It's like-
his arm off.
It's probably more brutal than chewing your arm off.
He spoons his arm off.
Yep.
I don't think you know anything about
It was
this
like a
movie.
metal ruler, or
It's
maybe it
different
was
every time.
Something like that.
maybe it was like a protractor.
So it's gone
He
from
gets it stuck
teeth-
in a rock.
Yeah, he's like rock climbing, and he gets stuck in a rock, and he,
Spoilers.
I don't know, he might have
How long did it take him?
Spoiler, he loses the arm.
127 hours. Did it take him 127 hours to actually do it, or to work
was
up
he
the
stuck?
courage?
Yeah, it would take me. About 1,000 hours to work up the courage
So
to do
you
that
die of thirst and hunger before.
before hurting myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather die. I would rather die.
You would rather die?
I would rather die. I'd be like the guy. Oh, so sad. Fox got his leg stuck in a rock and he died.
And he died.
Yeah, couldn't he have just like cut his leg off?
You wouldn't want to like come in on crutches or like in some like motorized chair and be like, that's the guy that got his leg stuck in there and he chewed it off like an animal.
As someone who had a cast for about 2 weeks, I could say I'd rather die. That was annoying enough.
Yeah.
The fact that I would have to do it for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
no thanks.
You
Obviously,
wouldn't have a
that's
cast though.
huh?
You wouldn't have a cast on for the rest of your life because you wouldn't have a leg.
That's true. I guess that's a perk.
Exactly.
I have less casts than I have now. Although currently, I cut my own cast off.
Yeah.
I did use a hacksaw, so I guess I felt like that guy.
A hacksaw?
Yeah, well, like I don't know. I hacked it with a saw.
Okay.
We were away camping. Not camping. We were at an Airbnb. Near a beach. Near a beach. I get confused because I thought we were going to go camping for so long until like the week off.
Yeah, we were camping. You're in like a 6-bedroom house, so it's like a spa.
In Melbourne, 6th floor, overlooking the bay.
Basically camping.
Basically camping. Yeah, I didn't have a shower, so it was basically camping.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went to the beach and like the cast got all like soggy and wet and sandy.
That's the beach.
Yeah,
known
that's
for.
why Anakin hates it.
Hates sand.
Yeah, because he obviously.
Gets everywhere.
Yeah, it's so coarse as well. Anyways,
What a nerd.
what a nerd.
Anyway, so use that hacksaw. Why didn't you use like? I mean, obviously you're probably limited because you're
Camping around the sticks. Yeah.
Yeah. So you chose a saw that's intended for cutting metal.
Well, it was like one of the dudes had one of them like Swiss Army knives that just has like everything in it.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like, oh, it's got a little saw attachment.
Oh, right.
I was like, oh, that might work. And
Yeah.
I used it for a little bit. I was like, this works really well.
Yeah, nice.
Because no scissors could obviously cut it.
No.
The place we stayed at, I even had a first aid kit that has like the proper like medical
Yeah, like
scissors.
surgical scissors.
Yeah. I guess I could have just used those to cut my leg off.
Yeah, but
I had the saw.
you had a
so-
Swiss Army knife, dude.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even Swiss, so I don't know if I was allowed to use it or if that's illegal or whatever.
Was
but
he Swiss?
I wouldn't want to make an assumption.
Okay, because
Yeah.
like I believe under supervision you can.
No, they just left me. They actually he gave me that and gave me a beer and was like, "Come inside when it's done."
It's like pain relief.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of supervision though.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? I think the main reason, if I could put it down to a word, why I had to cut the cast off,
Beach.
sludge.
Sludge. Yeah, your cast turned into the game that we are playing.
Oh, are we talking about sludge?
We're talking about sludge. Sludge war, some people call it.
Sludge war.
Sludge war.
Okay,
I don't know.
this just says sludge.
It does say sludge.
We're talking about sludge.
We're talking about
The
sludge.
tabletop miniatures game.
Yep. The game created by Sean. Is it Sutter or Sutter?
All right, you've been doing this all night and it's pissing me off.
Double T-E-R. I'm going to say the barbaric word of Sutter and I assume it's right.
All right, so spell it again.
S-U-T-T-E-R.
Sutter.
Sutter. Yeah.
Sutter. Sutter.
Sutter.
Sutter.
I don't think he's Irish.
Sean
Sean Sutter.
Irish?
Yeah.
Okay, Sutter. Yeah. Sure.
He did all the art for it, by the way, in the book too.
Oh, amazing. I didn't
Pretty
see
talented.
the book. You
Nah.
kept it away from me.
I mean, I gave it to you briefly.
So the context is, we just played a game. Shane has been all over Sludge. You've played a couple, I believe, like games online, tabletop simulator.
Yeah, back with Vumu.
Yep. And you've been loving it ever since you had that experience.
Yep.
You've painted up almost 3 armies now.
2 and a fraction.
2 and a fraction.
Yep.
Yeah. Is the fraction 10 out of 10?
Huh?
What's the fraction of the 3rd army you've painted?
Oh, about
Sorry, that was a bad question. You don't know fractions.
20%.
It's about 5. Sorry, I set you up for that.
Fractions. I only deal in decimals.
Yeah.
0.2.
Just convert it to a fraction.
0.2.
Only a
1/5.
Sith deals in absolutes.
Yep.
Did it? Did he?
A fraction.
Oh, well done.
Maybe. So, yeah, we played Sludge.
Yeah, so, and then you taught me Sludge.
Yep. Taught.
Yeah, and that word is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
More so than I did preparing for this episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what I mean when I say you've been doing that all night. You were just like, now, is it Sutter or Sutter? Asking me a question that there's no way I could know the answer to because it's the first time I'm discovering this information.
Yeah.
You did that so many times during the game. You would ask me questions about the game. You were teaching me.
Not like, they were more like rhetorical questions. It was.
You're like,
It
do you
was
reckon it goes here or does it go over here? I was like,
No, hang on. You're taking that out of context. The question was, do I measure from the middle of the base or the edge of the base?
Yeah.
I
don't know. Is it like every other war game we've ever played, or is there an exception? And how would I know? How the fuck would I know? I don't know if it's Sutter, dude. How am I supposed to know that? I just got here.
You've been here for hours. When are you going to leave?
When you teach me the bloody rules.
All right.
Anyway, so there's probably people listening that are like, all right, I think I've heard Shane talk about Sludge. What exactly is it?
Yeah, what is it?
What is it?
You tell me what you think it is.
All right, I'll tell you what I think I know, which I think is probably more than you.
Debatable.
Only because I've never read the rule book, but apparently neither have you. So, so I think Sludge is set in an alternate reality where it's sort of like, for whatever reason, around the black powder era.
Yep.
The pike and shot era. Is that the different
Kind of. Yeah. Anywhere from like the late 1600s to like early 1900s.
Sure. Something happened.
Yep.
And now there's wizards.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
like kind of. That's basically it. It sums it up.
Cool. All right, there you go.
That's the elevator pitch of the game. Basically, it's like imagine Napoleon and wizards.
Yeah.
And the people are just like, "Yep, here's your contract."
How did the wizards get there? Where's the magic come from?
The magic comes from the life tree, which is like in Norse mythology. There's like I think it's called Yggdrasil. It's like the tree of life, right? The world is on this tree, and they have dug down and found the roots of the tree, right? And they've started like hacking at the roots because they're like, if we chew on this,
we need a root.
We get a root.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
we chew on that.
Yeah, chew on it. Yeah. So they've managed to like somehow farm the materials from the roots, and they've used it to make like elixirs and sort of magical like wands and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And then they've started realizing the more they do that, the ground around them sort of starts to die.
Sure.
And it's kind of like,
2 for 1.
Yeah, it's like
you get a cool wand and the ground's dead.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you can drive your car everywhere, but you're also polluting the environment.
Come on, man. No political statements here. You don't know.
Right.
Maybe fossil fuels is good for the universe. Maybe we're creating stars.
Maybe.
You don't know, dude.
I actually don't know.
I don't know either, but probably you're right.
I don't know. Apparently. So they said for how many years now?
No,
since we're in primary school. Remember the hole in the ozone layer?
Oh, what happened to that? Someone plugged it up. With tree wands.
Yeah. So they've realised that like the more they hack at the life tree, the ground starts to die. But then like we use it for power. It's like we get, but so basically to sum it all up, the world is dying, and they're fighting over the last sort of bits of like fertile land.
Sure.
To grow crops and stuff like that. So
okay,
it's just it's like these little factions, like clans almost, just battling each other. Small nations.
There's a lot of magic, but also like field guns and cavalry.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the magic is quite limited. It's not like fireball and, you know, that sort of stuff. It's more like the sorcerers deal in like visions of death and and stuff like that, and the arcanists are more like healing and kind of like enchanted weapons and things like that. So
and the what did we have? The little
the chaplains,
and the chaplains do nothing.
They are useless,
just like real life.
Wow, Jesus. Take a shot at the Catholic Church.
Well, someone's got to.
Yeah, that is too good for too long.
They've been up on their high horse, and you know what? Frankly, I've had enough.
So it kind of adds a bit of that fantasy element, but not like high fantasy. This is something we've spoken about quite a lot in the past of like low fantasy, high fantasy. It's definitely on the lower fantasy end. Yeah. It's not...
A little bit more Game of Thrones end of things.
Yeah.
Where like, there's visions, there's some magic.
Yeah, but it's not like really fantastical, you know, like elves and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool. So people can use miniatures. That's a great thing about this game that you've really loved. Yeah. Because it gives you a chance to use all those like Napoleonics.
Yep.
With some tweaking, like some cool sorcerer type and wizard miniatures.
Yep.
Blended together without sort of being bound to the very strict rules that a lot of historical Napoleonics has.
Oh,
this person has to have this coat. This person has to be...
It's like, we're playing a game set in 1756 and they didn't wear that colour until 1758.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, like really nitty-gritty historical kind of stuff.
And even like...
bypass all that.
Yeah, and that's cool. Because I find like a lot of people that play historicals don't care too much, but like when you're getting into it, you want your stuff to be accurate.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And that's always been a barrier for us. But for this, you've always loved the idea, I feel like, of historicals and like using these cool Napoleonics, but hated being bound to and have to be so accurate. And also like finding good systems to play those in.
I've already said to Ollie that, like, and I think he's in the same boat, like by the time we retire, we're both going to be deep into historical wargaming and have a whole room in our house dedicated to a model railway.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's that old people shit.
Yeah.
You drink your Metamucil.
That's what I'm doing. And he's going to do the same thing.
That's cool. You guys can retire happy.
Yeah.
And fucking start your own podcast. See if I can. Guess I'll just play Star Wars.
Yeah, you nerd.
I'm the nerd.
Call their podcast Rails and Redcoats.
Rails and Redcoats.
And Churchy's going to produce it.
You guys can rail each other as much as you want. I don't care.
You're just jealous.
Yeah. Just leave my Test of Honor miniatures here next time, why don't you? Don't take them with you. Or you can take the terrain, actually. It's dope looking terrain. What are we talking about? Sludge.
Sludge.
Yeah. So... explain to the viewers and listeners how you play Sludge. Give them a general breadth of rules. And me too, because I feel like although we played for a few hours, I have no idea. So
yeah, I didn't do a great job of teaching the rules.
No, you did fine. Tradition. Because you got your wife to print off a quick reference guide.
She's a gem.
Which taught me... Actually, Caitlin taught me more about this game than you did.
Did she?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was teaching you. You're like, when do we do nerve tests? I was like, I think this says we do it. And then you had to go to the rule book. And you're like, oh, this line, this formation is a column. And I'm like, actually, it says all columns need to be in contact with two others. Like, oh, that makes sense. I think we learned together.
We did.
Obviously, it wasn't on you to know the entirety of the rules because I will say, when you handed me this and the other chart, I was way more excited about this game than I've been in the past.
Oh, yeah?
Because what I wanted from this game, we've played so many great, simple games.
Yeah.
And simple games are great. One-page rules.
Yep.
5 parsecs from home. Those kind of games where there's so much more outside of just the actual playing of the game.
Yep.
That, like, the list building is so nice and clean in OPR. You get them on the table quick, you play them quick. This was gritty.
Yep.
This had the kind of depth that I... could only hope for.
Yeah, nice.
Well, and so I loved that when I saw charts and I saw like there's short orders and long orders and you get 3 actions, which is 3 shorts or 1 short and a long.
Yeah.
I was like, I love that. And then not only that, you've got your regular ones, but also like your commanders and officers and useless chaplains, they all have like their own unique orders as well.
Yep.
And then the gore mechanic is so cool. So anyway, the depth of the game, straight up within the first turn, I was like, I can tell A, why you're hooked, and B, why I'm gonna be hooked, because this was awesome.
Yeah, nice. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, dude. One of the first things that obviously it's like one of the first things you experience in the game is the roll off to determine who goes first. So straight away there's a mechanic there where it's called unstoppable momentum, and you both roll off, and if you happen to roll a tie, you re-roll it,
Sure.
and the person that wins the re-roll goes twice.
Yeah, because typically it's alternating activations.
Yeah.
Which is also great. But you're saying, like, if you win that tie, you get to
activate
go
2
2 units.
Yeah,
And
before
that's
the
so
opponent.
clutch.
And like, yeah, so like little things like that, like it's just like you can imagine a battle like this that's so, you know, so desperate and things like that, and that one little double activation.
Oh, yeah. That would be a game changer.
It could be, it really could be. You could position a unit, you know, cast one of your useless chaplain abilities on them to bless them or something to give them a +1, and then activate that unit to do something.
Yeah, that's cool. That is
So,
very cool.
yeah.
And also, like, especially in the later turns of the game, that could be almost a third of your army.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to, you know.
We played a pretty small game. That was 200 points each side.
Oh, it gets bigger.
Yeah,
Great.
so I think the standard that they seem to play is about 300 points.
Okay, cool.
I've built lists around that 250 sort of mark, but the beauty is you can just add a unit here and there.
yeah, nice.
And the thing though is like the units are so cheap. Like, I mean, we saw how quickly the cavalry died.
Yeah.
But they're like 5 points per model,
Sure, okay.
and an extra 5 points to the whole unit to give them muskets,
Yeah.
to turn them into dragoons. You can give them for another 5 points, you can give them lances as well, which I think is like a bonus on charging or something.
Yeah.
And then there's like, the list building is very simple, but it can be quite dynamic. You
Sure.
can give a lot of your commanders and your basically character models, or heroes they call them, you can give them bodyguards.
Yeah.
For 10 points each, which, as you saw, gives you like an extra 2 dice in the combat,
Yep.
and an extra wound overall.
So it's like a little bit of defensive and offensive buffs.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
So the list building, I remember when I was looking into Sludge, which I was looking into Sludge list building specifically because of how dope all the Medbury miniatures are.
yeah, you were looking at the Viking guys, right?
And I was like, can I make Vikings work in
Yeah.
this? Because it's a little bit of a mental gymnastics I was trying to play. Because I'm like, how do my Vikings fit
yeah.
in the like Napoleonics era? Like, how do I make that work in my head?
Because you haven't, like, the ranged weapons are basically crossbows and muskets, right?
Yeah.
So the Vikings, I don't think, had any ranged weapons, or maybe they had bows.
They had crossbows.
Oh, they had crossbows?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
the
okay.
Medbury miniatures had some like crossbow.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's kind of all right. So you can
Yeah.
build around that, but there is a difficult thing where you're looking at like one particular range of units,
Yeah.
and if you can't really cover all bases, it kind of
There's no field guns for the Vikings.
No,
you know?
and they wouldn't have used anything like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of siege weapons they would have used, but you could maybe find something and just use it as a counts as field gun.
Yeah, like a big, what's the big things called? A ballista
Oh,
or
ballista?
something?
Yeah,
You could
yeah.
find one of those, put a bunch of Vikings on it. They're like,
Yep.
yeah.
That's
Because
kinda
it is like, it's fantasy.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh, yeah.
historical.
No.
So you could really throw, but also like a Japanese, like the Japanese force would be cool as well.
Yeah, yeah, and,
they,
you could make a samurai themed force with
yeah,
teppos,
yeah,
or what arquebuses, whatever the Japanese called them.
yeah,
So like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
there's
cool.
lots of there, but like you said, there is a bit of mental gymnastics that you have to like. I mean, you don't have to, but I know you would, and I think most
Yeah.
people would try and make it work.
Because it's tricky, because like we're so used to, although it's fantasy and it could definitely exist, and you could definitely make it work in a clean manner. You just be like, oh, there was a little piece of land that was a bit disconnected, that these Vikings, so they're a little bit behind on their like equipment or whatever.
Yep.
And so they've got cavalry, they've got bows, but they don't have any like field guns or anything like
Yeah.
that. You don't have to bring a field gun.
Absolutely not. And like my field gun did nothing the whole game.
Yeah.
You landed a lucky shot at the end there.
Yeah. Well, one you paid to me because it was 1 inch away.
like 1 inch, and we had to see some action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like in the list building, I feel like the core of this game is the line infantry.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the only requirements, is it? That you got to sort of bring like 2 groups? I can't remember how it works when I was reading it.
Yeah, so the line infantry, all the line infantry does is limit how many elites you can bring. So you have to have 1 unit of line infantry for every 1 unit of elites.
Yeah, that's great. It's nice, simple list building. It just means you can't like stack
just elite
elites.
spam.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, because the elites are still cheap.
Yeah,
it's still 5 points per base or per model, whatever.
I love the line infantry in this multi-base. So you like have some great looking bases with all your dudes on it, and you don't remove them. They just when they take 3 wounds, the whole base is removed. So you can do some really cool like what do you call that? We make the bases look good.
Diorama.
Yeah, dioramic type things on your little they're smaller bases, but
40 mil bases.
Yeah, it's great.
They feel very small once you've packed 3 models on there.
Yeah.
Even these historical miniatures, which are, I guess, closer to true 28 mil than what a lot of people are used to, by the time you stick 3 to the base, it's like, whew, okay, some spots are hard to get your brush into. So
yeah, I feel that. That's why I think your Slapchop video on how to paint a sludge army quick on our second channel, Hobby Homie. I don't know how to say it. We're in a new podcast. Link in the description below. Yeah, that was a great way to like pump those out.
Yeah.
And the contrast paints, like, you can get your dry brush in those spots, and you can let the contrast paint sort of like run into those spots.
Yeah.
So they're a good way to do like the multi bases. So that's a good strategic move from you.
Thanks, dude.
What I do like about this game is that it scratches a little bit of an itch that I didn't know we had. Like Churchy and me, I think both when we were playing this game, all we could hear was the ringing of muskets and the popping of field guns and the cannons just slinging across the battlefield.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's a very cool thematic game.
Yeah.
And it felt like it played that theme well.
I think so too. Like with the placing of the gore and the nerve tests that we're doing and stuff like that. Like you can imagine like what's going through these soldiers' minds as there's bits of their friends and their enemies laying around them and stuff like that. And I think my favorite moment was when you just like obliterated my unit of 6 Jaegers.
Yeah.
And there was 1 guy left.
Yeah.
And he went through to kill like 2 bases of your line infantry in melee with a bayonet.
He had to steady himself.
Yep.
And then he went in.
And he was just gutting these dudes.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yep.
I do like when your dragoons charge my dragoons. I was like, oh, this is going to be a great battle. And you just obliterated them.
Yeah.
And then I returned fire with my line infantry, just a ringing of musket. The musket volleys are so strong.
Yeah.
I like how strong the line infantry are because they just have such an impact.
Yeah.
And it feels like that's the way it should be. If you've got 20 guys standing there with muskets.
Oh, yeah, dude.
They should be far more impactful.
It should be thundering.
Yeah. And they do. They cause shock as well.
Yep.
There's a few like really impactful weapons that cause shock, which is like a negative to your morale test.
Yep.
And the musket volleys have that as well.
Yeah.
They've got lots of attacks. They're a good chance of hitting. When they do hit, you you can do a bunch of wounds.
Yep.
Then when you do the wounds, like there's tons of gore that they spread.
Yep.
They're just thunder, like you say.
Yeah.
So they're very cool.
How did you think? So in the rules, it's Sean's written that he doesn't use pre-measuring.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he says it's your game. You play with whatever you want to play with. So when straight up I was like, no pre-measuring.
Yeah.
You're like, sweet.
Yeah, I love
Let's
that.
do this.
Yeah.
How did you like? We're so used to games where you can really plan it out, right?
Yeah.
How did you find not being able to pre-measure?
I'll be honest, I feel like it didn't make an impact at all to the gaming experience because, I think, it's much of a muchness. If you want to play this game and pre-measure or not, I really don't think the experience changes much at all. I didn't really even think about it, to be honest, because, we've played for so long, you know what 3 inches is. And I know what...
Look at it every day.
Yeah. And I know what inches are too. So, we can kind of go, all right, I'm going to move, and then I know I'm going to be well within the 12 inches I need to shoot at that thing.
Yeah.
And if I'm 50-50 on it, I'll just choose to go over here and do this thing.
Or do an extra move. Yeah.
So, I think it sped the game up because you don't then, like, measure to see if you can do it, then go, all right, cool, I can. Now I'll actually do it. So you pull out the measure and you move your people.
Or I can't. Okay, I'll do this instead.
Yeah.
So
That's
it definitely does force you to make a decision.
Just make a decision and go for it. You take the most likely thing, and it just I feel like it did cut out a heap of extra measuring.
I think so too.
Which is great.
Yeah.
What I do like, the field gun mechanic of measuring is incredible.
Oh, the guess range.
The guess range.
D10.
Yeah.
And then the bounce D10 as well.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so good. So like the field gun can just hit what it sees.
Yeah.
Kind of. You
Yep.
shoot at something, but you have to guess a range.
Yep.
So you got to go, all right, well, I think I'm going to guess a range, but you don't want to guess the range of how far you think the enemy is,
No, you want to fall short.
because you got to roll a d10 and it's going to add that to whatever your guess range is.
Yeah.
So if you go, I think they're about 24 inches away.
So I'm going to guess 18 and
Yep.
hope for a 6 on that D10 roll.
And then hopefully that lands on them.
Yep. Yep.
And if it lands short or past, it can also then bounce.
Yeah. Even if it direct hits, it can bounce as well.
Oh, there you go.
So you can like clean up that front unit and then whatever's behind.
And then you roll another d10 and it bounces that far
Yeah,
back.
so you might get the commander as well, or
That's
a
cool.
chaplain that's standing the wrong way.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I do like that. That was a lot of fun. It's one of those things where it's like when it doesn't hit, you're just like, well, whatever.
Yeah,
We took a
yeah.
lucky shot. And then when it does hit,
Yeah.
it feels very rewarding.
Even though like our first exchange of fire from our field guns, we both missed.
Yeah.
But like it was cool to imagine like that this shot has bounced past the troops.
Yeah.
And I think both times there was also someone behind.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, whoa, they dodged it too.
It bounced in front of someone and then went past two people or whatever.
Yeah.
And every time, that's all I could see in my head was just these massive, cannonballs whizzing past.
yeah.
And it's what's great about it too is because you want your shot to land on a base.
Yep.
So you're encouraged to shoot at something with a larger footprint, which is how you probably play field guns anyway, like on an actual
you'd be
battlefield.
shooting at line infantry.
That's right. You're not going to shoot at one person out there because you never hit them.
Nah.
Although I did.
You did.
I did aim at a single-based person and you
Yep.
paid it.
It was 1 inch.
Well, what's 1 inch?
Right.
Basically doesn't exist.
No.
So, yeah, it was good fun. I loved it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I can see why you have painted up 2 and a 5th armies.
Yep. We didn't play with objectives. We played just to straight up kill each other.
I assumed because you never mentioned anything.
Oh, the objective was to have a sorcerer.
Oh, yeah. I liked how you gave yourself one of those who could cast. You're like, I'm going to cast Horrors of the War. And I was like, that sounds cool. Can't wait to do that. You're like, oh, no, yours is a chaplain.
Yeah.
I'm like, what can it do? You're like, it's a bit of a medic. It can heal gore and stuff. And
Oh, wait, no,
And then
it
you're like,
can't.
oh, wait, no, it can't heal gore. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. In the rulebook, there is, I think there's like 5 different missions. It's got like options
Awesome.
to like roll randomly.
Great.
So, and the objectives, it looks pretty straightforward, but it's kind of basic, but looks like fun. So I think next time we play, we'll throw some of them in there as well, and
That's cool.
maybe film a battle report or something.
Heck yes. Let us know in the comments or however you interact with us if you would like to see more Sludge content.
Yeah.
Have you played it? Have you been interested in it? Is it something that you want more information on? You're like, sounds great, but does it do this? Ask him, and he'll maybe one day read the rule book and let you know.
I'll read your comment, then read the rulebook, and then reply.
Yes, there you go. That's a Hobby Homies guarantee right there. If I've ever heard one. Free delivery and everything.
If you want to get the rules, you can buy the Blaster magazine, which comes with a few other games as well. There is 2 editions. Volume 3 and Volume 4 both contain rules for Sludge.
Awesome.
You can also buy on Wargame Vault using our affiliate link in the description.
You're so proud of that plug.
That was a cold email and it paid out for us.
Yeah.
And you can buy, I think it's like they're both combined in one book. It's like $10. So,
Sweet.
Yeah.
So you can get that as well. If you just
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
want Sludge.
Yep.
You can
Or-
get all the stuff that came in the blasters in one book.
Yeah. Or you can go to Relic Blade Studios is Sean's website where he makes other games as well, like Relic Blade.
Oh, Relic Blade.
And another one. And he's got a new one. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head.
Sure.
It's about flying carpets, I think.
Wow.
It's like Aladdin, but combat.
Aladdin.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
Interesting.
Looks very cool.
It sounds like he has progressively smoked more and more pot through his creation of games. You know, Relic Blade, I assume, maybe some generic fantasy stuff. But possibly based purely on the name and no other information. And then he's dived into like Sludge.
Yep.
Napoleonics meets Wizards.
Yep.
And then he's like, now he's full Magic Carpet.
He might even be in California, and I think
Yeah.
the weed is getting pretty good over there.
There you go. I can't wait. You know what? It's the next title I'm the most interested in.
Yeah. What honestly comes
What's
next?
after Magic Carpets?
I don't even know.
And what models do you use?
I don't know. The choice is yours.
The choice is yours. Anyway,
Choice is Sean's.
just imagine full-scale wargaming.
Yep.
6x5 tables. Magic Carpets.
Magic Carpets.
Like, you cannot... Magic Carp sounds like Magic Carpets. Think about that for a sec while we thank our
make you think.
patrons. Just make you think.
Massive shout out to our patrons. For $2 a month, you can get early access to videos like this, videos on our second channel as well.
As we mentioned, Shane has a 45-minute expose into how to paint a sludge army.
We were aiming for 12 minutes.
Yeah, well, you got in the realm.
We overshot it.
Yeah, just like that field gun, man. You rolled a D10,
A D10.
and added 30 minutes.
Yep. Hey, we went for depth.
Short form short form content, not our specialty.
No, short form turned to long form. Yeah, massive shout out to our patrons. As always, we have the GOATs. We have Burnsy, Farmer Dinosaur, Gridlock, Axe, Annex, MJ, Test Dummy, Black Apollo, and Journeyman.
We've also got Brandon W. OG homies, by the way. Brandon W, Moose, Elko, Churchy, thanks Churchy, Rad, Ollie, Hawkers, Penny, Aggro, Don Juan, One Pubulum, Jackson V, Fatboy, Kevin H, Nathan A, Mini Walmart, and Big Roach. You're all amazing. You send us money. We use that money to give Churchy money. Churchy uses that money to keep his beard shaped.
Oh,
and that
doesn't he?
costs thousands. So he's in the
I've heard.
red.
Yeah.
And we need to support that.
Then you
So
get back into the green.
get your friends to sign up because his beard is unkempt and out of control.
It's true, it is. It's pretty bad.
I like it. It looks good. Where do you get it done?
His bathroom.
I got a saw blade you can use. We'll see you next week.
Over.
Woo! Big up to the boys, Fox and Shane. Set your minds free, no locks and chains. Do what you love, roll the dice.